Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Bree, and today I'm talking about electronic toys. So when I say electronic toys, I'm not talking about like the Tiger handhelds or video games or calculators or Game & Watch, etc. I'm talking about Teddy Ruxpin or Speak and Spell, Simon, Bop It, stuff like that. The Easy Bake Oven, stuff like that. Regular kids' toys, but with like electronic components. Um, these were real popular in the late 70s and throughout the 80s. There were a few of note in the 90s, and then they pretty much like kind of fallen by the wayside because technology caught up, and some of the things that these toys were doing, computers and video games can do better. Um, but some of my favorite iconic electronic toys, I want to talk about Simon. I had Simon as a kid. I played the shit out of Simon. I could not do more than like two, maybe three rounds, and then I was out. I was no good at this one. But I love Simon because it looks like a frisbee with buttons on it, bright, colorful buttons, and it makes funky dory sounds, and I enjoy it. Now Simon was sort of reimagined in the 90s as Bop It. I never owned a Bop It, so I can't talk about it, but I've seen the commercials. It's basically the same thing, just not as good. Another electronic toy from my childhood, which I actually have. I do not have a Simon, but I do have one of these. It's the Light Bright. I love Light Bright. True story. I was in physical therapy as a kid for reasons, and one of the things my physical therapist had me do was play with Light Bright. She would put Light Bright. She would put a picture on the Light Bright and then give me a bucket of pegs and have me, very specifically pick a very specific motion for my physical therapy. Put the pegs in the right colored pegs in the right spots on the picture, and I just love Light Bright. CNC is another electronic toy. Um, you pull the lever and the wheel spins around, and whatever it lands on, it makes a sound. So if it's like an animal one, it lands on a cow when it goes moo. Or if it's like the, I don't know, whatever. That's the best example I can come up with. I don't remember if there were others or not. And then another electronic toy that's real popular, and they still make in some form, is the Easy Bake Oven. Now the Easy Bake Oven is kind of one of those role play toys, kind of like a baby doll, or a like your Power Rangers sword, or your Ghostbusters proton pack or whatever. It is it's definitely electronic. You do have to plug it into the wall. So this one is not battery operated like a lot of electronics toys. Another one you had that was popular for a while and then it faded was the Speak and Spell. Now they've tried to bring it back in different forms, but like today it would just be an app on your phone, pretty much. And it would probably do it better anyways. You know. But I never had a Speak and Spell. I've never seen one in real life, so I know nothing about it. Another one that was real popular in the 90s was Furby. And they keep bringing Furby back. Furby has stuck around for a while. Furby is basically a gremlin, a gizmo gremlin, a mogwai, that you can talk to, kinda, sorta. And it can dance and blink and I don't know, whatever. Another one that was popular in the 80s is really just a cassette recorder stuck inside of a teddy bear. And this is Teddy Ruxpin. But he does have pseudo animatronics, his mouth moves, if you have one that works. And you buy cassettes and you put them in his back in the tape player. And he plays the tape and his mouth moves and he tells you a story. I have never owned a Teddy Ruxpin. But what I did have was basically the same thing. And I didn't look it up on eBay or Google or anything or YouTube or anything. So I don't know what it's called, but it was like a little robot. That was the same thing. It was a tape player, and it had buttons on the front. You could push the buttons and it would make noises, and you could put a tape in it. And I don't know. It was I don't know how else to describe it. It was just a little plastic white robot. I wish I knew what it was called because I'd like to get on eBay and buy one because I had this as a kid, and it was a fun toy. And then you also had things like sometimes you would have like um you would have action figures that would have electronic parts in them, like flashing lights, or they'd come with a chip, and you put the chip in the back and it would play lines from the movie or whatever. I don't really consider those the same thing as what I'm talking about here. That's a whole separate deal. Those are just gimmicky toys. When I do walk around the toy aisle today, I don't see a lot of these electronic toys anymore. Now, I do see things like plug and play video games, and they do still sell Light Bright. And I think they still sell Speak and Spell, but I don't quote me on that. I don't think they still sell Teddy Ruxpin, but I don't think that would work anymore. Um, because cassettes are outdated, and I just think it would be like a fucking YouTube video, I guess, would do the trick. I don't know. So I think like the 80s was like peak electronic toys. I think we tried we tried to marry electronic toys with computer elements in the 90s, but those were just replaced by actual computers like tablets and iPods and iPhones and a fucking Roku or Kindle, whatever, just fucking like fucking digital media player thingies and computers and video games and stuff. So I don't know if kids today would be as fascinated with like a Simon as kids did back in the 80s. If you do know what that robot toy is that I described, please let me know because I really want to get one off of eBay as long as it's not like $1,200. And let me know what electronic toys did you have? Did you play with? And hey, if you have kids, do they play with electronic toys these days? And I don't mean tablets and gadgets. I mean like a piece of plastic with electronic components. Like a CN spell or say CNC. I don't know what it's called. The one where you pull the lever and it talks to you, or like I said, Speak and Spell, Simon, etc. I don't know. Stay cool.